you guys are catching the replay. This is a live video, so we're going to be waiting for just a few people to step in, but just to give you a peek of what we gathered the other day at the site. It's a lot to go through here. So thanks for joining. If you're watching the replay, just kind of maybe fast forward a little bit. We'll get cooking. You'll see when we start cooking. Thanks for joining. We're just getting started here. It's a lot on this table today. It's a little overwhelming. I've gotten some advice on how much to show. Sometimes having this much is just way too overwhelming. So we'll see how it works. I'm gonna wait till we get like 5 people in, 3 or 4 or 5 people. Let's give it a couple minutes here. Hey everybody, thanks for joining. Was waiting for you guys to jump in. We have a bunch of artifacts here to show you. So these are the clay pottery artifacts from North Carolina, and I've got a little spray bottle because a lot of them aren't cleaned yet, but we can start off by taking this one apart here that we showed in the last video. So this one, of course, you can see how the black spot is done for the eye and how the purple hair is represented there. And what's so crazy about these is we can split them apart. So before we take it all the way apart, we should look at the other side too. See how that black dot perhaps there for an eye? There's a few of them. And as we slice this and take it apart, you'll be able to see more and more. So they're a little fragile and a little tough to snap once they get dried. That's why these ones that we have here are all wet. Because once they dry, they kind of, well, as you would imagine, they turn into like pottery. So this one's not really coming out as well as I want to. I think it's almost too dry. But here we can see how the purple bird is probably represented. It's a little bit tough to show that one since it's so dry. So let's take a look at a wetter version here. So here we have a really fancy colored one. You can see how probably a big bird with the bird's eye and the beak under the person, which is normally the case. And then we have the longer face here with the nose and of course that little spot there that you can see for an eye. If you guys aren't seeing the stuff yet, I can actually rinse this off just a bit to show you. So you guys can see the carvings and things. Let's do this. I think that helps me see them as well. The other side of this still has a lot of the paint on it. So most of these will get snapped apart and broken so that we can inspect them all the way. Here we are. So I haven't studied these or anything. So what you guys are finding, well, we're going to kind of find these together is what I mean. So this color right here, I thought was super nice. This purple color, and you can see how the face is in the gray section there, or the clay section. Let's wash that off to see what it looks like underneath. I love this purple on, well, the white on purple, I guess it would be. So if I'm going to get them wet, I really have to get the whole thing wet. Take a look at our mammoth here. We got a pretty awesome mammoth. So mammoths were here in North Carolina merely 10,000, 12,000 years ago. And it's documented, of course, that humans lived with these mammoths. So these artifacts are at least 10, 12,000 years old at a minimum. So what we'll do with this one is we'll be able to snap this one around, snap the parts off of it. We have one that's kind of set up for that already here. It's pretty much falling apart already. So let's go ahead and open this one up and go through it. For it is a book. Let's see if we can see any of the easier repeating characters here. So what's really interesting is this stuff, I'm always noticing these mammoths, but they were all made by the same group of people, so it's very cool to be able to examine these, because you know that once you start to see some of the art, you'll be able to see the rest of it. These symbols and designs on here. Almost looks like legs of a person, you see? One leg, two leg. Kind of carved in there like a stick figure. And this will get a little messy, but we can separate all these sheets. And we might snap them on the ground to separate them. Let's go ahead and do that. And we are going to make a mess. So unfortunately, we lost some of it, but you'll still be able to see all the amazing color in here. So right off of on this side, you can see how the cheekbone of the character with the white face is portrayed there. And how, make sure our focus is right, sorry. There's probably a few characters on here. Let's take some more of these sheets off. Oh, they're so wet, unfortunately, they're just breaking. I think they broke in the wrong spot. These are not the easiest to show. Yeah. So some of them are easier to open than others. Some of them are tougher. So here we have kind of a neat one. So they all have these little parts, the little birds there. On this one, so many sheets as well. So this is a pretty fancy little bird here. So you can see how the yellow beak is represented there with the eye and the crest. Just like a fat bird. But then when we tilt it to the right, you can see how that bird beak probably represents a human here with the dug-in eye, you can see. With the white face again. And then you see all these other silhouettes here as well, coming out of the top. There's some really awesome paint on here for the eye that's right there. That's a really neat one. It's still very, very dirty. Here here on this side as well. You can see how we have the longer face Birdman. Peek at this one. This one has some pretty nice birds on it. So, love the color on these. When you open them up, you can see how they're tiered colors. So, of course, we have the one bird here facing to the right. You can kind of make it fly. And then we'll have human silhouettes in here with this red, purple, and white hair. Facing to the right, of course. Bird comes out really well. You can see how the dug-in eye is done there. Sorry if you guys are getting some wind noise. The breeze is welcome, though. So we're looking for the mammoth hump, of course, and that mammoth eye with the trunk coming down. You can actually see the whole body of the mammoth on this one. And just bird heads. So here's a little demonstration of how they are split. There's a chance we might be able to open this by hand. Yep, perfect. So here we can see the chips and all the paint that they put inside of this. And as you guys know, there's no right side to hold these, but I think the easier images might be upside down. No problem, zombie. Yeah, showing these is not super easy to do live, but that's all right. Glad you're hanging out and enjoying it. It's, some people like research and kind of know what they're gonna say before they do a video, and not me. I just kind of do it. So here we have a character, a recessed face version with the big headdress. You can flip it over, and this one might be easier to see with the painting for the eye, the nose, and the mouth. All this beautiful stuff up top. Looks like there's actually a figure painted right here, like with a red dress. See the one arm, the other arm, one leg, the other leg, and you can see how the black is on the top, and that's her face right there. These are cave paintings on stones. So it definitely looks like a human being right here. Just in this section you can see. It's very pretty. And as we tilt it to the left, it'll just be a large face with the white surrounding the pink eye there. And you can see all this pressure, what they call pressure flaking. That's a really nice one. Very pretty. All right, let's find some more here. I'd like to be able to peel one of these apart with you, so maybe we can do that with this. So here we have still a pretty wet one. You can see how they stripe the colors. Most of the time they're at least 2 colors, sometimes up to 6 or 7 colors. But we'll have our little character there. If you look closely, you can see the little circle eye, the nose, and then that little ripple for the lips, as always. Beautiful stripes. Fantastic colors.
Hi, Donnie.
Hello, good to see you. Hey, hon. Lovely neighbors. They're the best. So here's kind of a larger one, shows that red and black paint on there. Trying to see the images on this one. Some of these are so high level, but we can snap this one around and give it a look. We'll give it a drop on the floor. They're still saying hi to me. Hi, how are you today? That's your mom's truck, yep. And here we have a pretty awesome dude. So there'll be so much on this. This is a really cool one, I can tell, because of the way it's split and cut up. Lots of layers on it. Let's go ahead and snap it. Wouldn't have expected that color, would you? So here, you can see the circle, the carving for the mammoth eye, and how the mammoth hump is presented. So much going on with this one. So of course, just facing to the right-hand side, we have the big black spot for the recessed beak version of the bird, with, decoration and color on it. Right on the interior edge, you can see the ripple for the lips every time, the point for the nose, and then the eye carving, I'm sure, somewhere in there. The eye carving might be up higher in this white section that you see, this little white symbol. So as we tilt this and move it as we're supposed to, the way that the art shows you kind of how to look at it, you can see how all these stripes line up and how all this color lines up. And you can see just the mouth and the little black spot. It's just a prehistoric, Paleolithic cartoon. That's all these are. So they had to be entertained somehow, some way, and this is the way that they did it. And it evolved into something extremely complex and complicated for our modern minds to take a look at. But it is sometimes, just as simple as just that little face right there, painted in. Beautiful mammoth on the left-hand side. Now here we have a V for an eye for another character. So of course this art doesn't just have one image on it, but it has several. Let's snap it one more time. I almost don't want to because it's so pretty. Take a look at these real quick too. So here we have this very circular eye. So there's a carving and then there's like a mineral that's inside of that eye, you can see. You can see how it's a circle. Probably gold. Looks to be like gold to me. And this might just give you a closer look of the stripes and the artwork that's on these, so that you're able to see them a little better. So keeping that spot eye there that you can see. This one has to come out to the sun so we can see the gold. So that eye really pops out. And then as you tilt this, you can see how there might be just a smiley face right there. There's so much on these. They are truly beautiful. All right, I'm gonna get my camera out of the sun so I don't overheat it. What do you guys think? Should I continue smashing this one up, or do you think it's worth keeping it for what it is? It's a really nice one. Does have a few more sheets on it though. ahead and take this piece off just to show you. Yeah, it's all burnt and crusty. These things have a great smell to them, actually. So they split them apart and then they put them back together after they painted and decorated them. And kind of be able to show you some of that here. This is very disposable art, so it doesn't have all the high-level stuff that maybe some of the stone art does. So let's take off a few pages of this book and just see what we can see. So every time you see that indentation for the lips, the nose, and then above that will be the eye. But there'll be portrait on portrait, so there'll be a few different ones. And just about every time you'll see that rounded mammoth hump with the straight trunk there. And it does actually kind of show the 2 feet, just like a little mammoth toy. Yeah, it is purple. These are 100% purple. Yeah. So they're so fragile, they do break apart pretty easy. But it's just faces and mammoths kind of over and over again. There's the mammoth dugout eye with that straight trunk and that hump again, and then the little silhouette of the human being over here. Very interesting media. Awesome. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I do this. So this one's completely dry, and you might just be able to see how light it is, this pottery. It's very light. The bird eye comes out very well. And so as we're tilting this and getting the angle correct, you can see how these human silhouettes pop out. So we're looking at the purple hair here with perhaps some feather or something in their hair. They are like chalk. It's kind of how they feel. And you can just draw on the ground with them. This little piece that broke off is a good example of how this stuff is. So we can see the smaller silhouette at the bottom and then the larger one above it with the nose, of course, poking out, and then that carving for the eye. And of course, all the color and stripes on this. So here, just emblazoned on here, that's the feather dropping down. You can see a Birdman motif. I don't expect you to see that one, though. It's a little tough to see it. Let's see if we can get another slab off of this. A little pop. Okay. Several popped out, actually. My goodness. Very cool one. And then here as well. So there's going to be a few different ways to view this. But we see how that long face is there. So we can tilt that face to make it proportioned. We can see how just a little character there on the end. Probably a very large character here. And just up here as well. With the purple face this time. So these get super deep, super complex. So on this, you can see the golden color with the blackened eye. And as we tilt that and move it, it becomes more lifelike. Very cool what they did. So much. So of course with this one we can see how the face is painted, how the eye is right here and the mouth is right here, the little lips, the way they're defined. So kind of stick a nose out for her. Kind of like that, right? Give you guys a good look at that. This is the bear face motif. So there are these characters that repeat. The carvings on these for the eyes are really popping out at me. Well, there's these characters, and once we start learning about it, these characters pop out very easily. So it's so pliable, you can see the way they just dig in to create the images. Let's go ahead and snap this one apart a little bit. It's got several sheets in it. Just to give you an idea, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's several sheets in this, so we'll smack this one apart. They are supposed to break, so it's kind of okay when they don't break exactly the way you want them to. This one's tough. Yeah, they're kind of hit and miss, you see. It's a little tough to show that one because it has kind of hardened up already. Let's swing back over here. And take a look at this pink and purple one. Of course, we have the painted face here pointing to the right. Give this one a smack. So we see the character with the white face right here. I have to start looking a little smaller sometimes. But you can see how that paint there is representing one. And on the bottom here we have the Looks like the male-female duo. So here you can see with the red eye. Very cool. This is one of the larger ones that I picked up and showed it at the beginning, but you can see the beautiful mammoth here. It's a very big one. And lots of sheets in it as well. So let's give it a snap. Hear the way that thing snapped. Ooh, it's like a rock already. But just to give you a shot of the color that's inside of it, see all the red. This is just cave art. I could do that garlic. Yeah, I have a lot of magnetic artifacts, and I've got a rare earth magnet sitting right here. So, as far as I've seen, none of this stuff is really magnetic. It's just pottery. But like you say, some of the stuff that's inside of it could be. Could be. Just looking at this red and black paint on here. Hopefully it's coming out well enough for you. But maybe this side's easier to just see the regular old silhouette. This one, they have a little piece of crystal for the eye. So we can try to smack this again, but like we said, this stuff it's already cemented. Wow. These are really pretty. Okay. So this first one you can see come out very well with a smooth face, the way that the stuff was cut. See how it's flattened? And so there's a portrait in there with the hair and other works on the head, perhaps a bird on the head right there. Of course, we're looking at the eye under here, the nose, and then this little ripple or indentation for lips. And the rest of this is headdress, hair. That's probably the bird beak, the bird eye, with the bird that's coming down over top of her head. This one here on the left side is showing this fantastic mammoth here. And again, look at that black and red color. It's just out of this world. So on the side here, we can just see the small human face that's put into this art. If you look closely, you can even see the smallest little ripple for the mouth. That's how detailed they were. You can make them talk. So of course we're looking at that carving right there for the eye. Yeah, there's so many different things on this, Katie. You're gonna see things that I don't, but for the mammoth, I see the hump and that straight trunk. But you may see other things. Mammoth might be best looked at like this too. So there are characters and images all over this stuff. So here on the right-hand side, when we tilt this down, you can see how the different silhouettes pop out, which is, as weird as it is, that's how the art is meant to be looked at. Tilt it. There's the other piece that came off of that. You guys can interpret some of this as you will. It's very neat. Yeah, this one is, I really like this one. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, the art is so many things, and I'm just gonna take a break for a minute while you guys look at this, but you're right, Ray. There's so many things that are in this art that some of this stuff pops out at you. You know, to certain people, it'll pop out at different times. So for me, it's a lot of the birds, but some people see otters and cats, like wild cats and stuff. I have never been able to see the wild cats or many of the other animals. I'm really good at seeing the birds and the mammoths because I think that's what we have predominantly here in North Carolina. But then other people watch stuff and they say, hey, I see this, I see that. And Katie, to your eyes need practice. The best way to get practice is just keep these in your common areas. Keep them in your kitchen, in your living room, in your dining room. That's what I do. And that's how you're able to learn the art, because you'll see something different every time you pass it. Something will pop out at you, and then you're like, oh my goodness, yeah, that's intentional. There's stuff that's not intentional, I'm sure, that pops out for some people, but that's the nature of these stones, was to use the imagination. Just like looking at clouds, the only motion pictures that they ever had were the clouds. And so they would look at the clouds, I'm sure, and make images out of that. And so it evolved into doing it with rocks and later pottery. And I think it had something to do with, it just evolved, right? So to be able to hold your creativity and your knowledge in a piece of stone that was going to last forever, and just kind of show off that, hey, we were this smart at one time, just to be able to preserve that knowledge and that creativity, it had to have been a very important thing for them to do, and it seems to have been very important because they did it all over the world, right? So, indeed they do, Rays. Yeah, and I don't see things in clouds. I don't see things in oatmeal or my food or steak. Like, you could look at a steak and maybe try to find a face out of it. That's not me. I can't find faces and things other than in these artifacts because I've learned the style of them. I mean, just like the Fred Flintstone cartoons or any old cartoons, they have their own style to them. How are we able to recognize that those are characters, right? It's just because we've gotten, you get used to it. It's art, just like this stuff is. So it doesn't look exactly like things because it's not exactly that thing. I guess that's, now that I've kind of scared everybody out of here, just kind of show you some artifacts here. But thanks for hanging out. How's everyone doing this Saturday anyway? You guys doing good? Katie, I'm trying to read all your comments, but you got so many. Chatty Kathy. Chatty Katie. I appreciate you guys coming out. Yeah, if you try hard enough, Katie, I imagine that you can. I mean, cloud people, of course that's not real. It's not intentional. It wasn't made by anybody. But other people have different opinions on that, of course. For me, I know what I see with this stuff. And if you missed this one, Ray, this one's really great too. So it really shows how, let me loosen this up so I can move you. It really shows how you have to tilt the art. So we say the long face, right? And then you tilt it, and then you can see how the eye, the nose, and then just that little smiley face character is poking out there. So this is a piece that we just broke live here. And of course this duck head, I'm sure. A lot of little silhouettes with their circle eyes, you can see. And the nose right there, of course. And different ones as we tilt it and move it around. So I thought this one was a really creative piece. I'm sure it's just the bird head this way. But just the cartoons of prehistoric people, that's all they are. Cute little guys, I think. They made some cute art. They made some angry art, some, like, well, art that had angry characters on it, I should say. Or mean-looking characters. And they made some really cutesy kind of art. So what really upsets me, though, is that, despite this stuff being clay pottery, despite the, even if they can't see the faces on it, they see all the paint. They see the red, the blacks. They know that it's not natural. Anyone with any type of archaeological knowledge knows that, painted purple stones don't just come out of nowhere. And they really want to deny it so they can keep on building, so they don't ever have to stop for anything. They don't want anything getting in the way of their money. And so that's why this stuff isn't documented and studied by the so-called archaeologists. And let me say another thing about archaeology. If you think you need any type of degree to do archaeology, this is made by human beings. You're a human being. It doesn't take an expert to know anything about archaeology at all. Why would you need a 5-year, 4-year degree to learn about prehistoric people? It's, to me, maybe someone can explain it to me why you would need that, because we're talking about natural human beings and just what natural people would do. It's like saying you would need a 5-year degree to raise a child, right? It's kind of on the same, you just know how to do it because it's part of you. It's natural for you. This is naturally made, or natural art made by natural people, and you don't need anything special to learn it at all. You don't need any qualifications. Your only qualification is just to be human. So that's the only qualification needed. All right, folks, I appreciate you guys doing this with me. Put some of these pieces together, and yeah, how to preserve it and be gentle, right? But for identifying it, yeah, I mean, you don't need to be an expert to identify what is worked and what is not. And the truth of the matter is, every single stone, nearly every single rock in this entire country, and mountainside and cliff, even in the maps and the geography, was made by these prehistoric Paleolithic people. And it's all over the world. It's not just here in North America. It's in Scotland, in Germany, in Spain. Everywhere has these boulders that are carved like birds, carved like humans. Sometimes the humans are facing straight up. They're all over Mexico and South America as well. So it's all over the world. Take care, everyone. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. And thanks for joining.